Welcome back, guys. This is Farrukh Siddiqui with the team of Sports Trainer. You are watching Sports Talk today. A very interesting episode with very special people because, as you know, the cricket came back and there was first game between England and West Indies, and surprisingly, but very deservedly, West Indies win the tournament. Win the match, and we got special some special people with us who are really proud West Indies fan, and will introduce them. Is the first I want to welcome Mr. Ingleton Liburd. He is the general manager for Cricket Canada. He's a very big fan of West Indies team. We are happy to have Ingleton in. I don't know, Ingleton. Welcome to the program. I think your mic is mute, Ingleton.
Thanks, Farrukh. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm quite happy to be here to talk about West Indies win because it's good to see cricket back. And
I can see all the smile on your face. The second one is a good friend of ours. Know him for a long time. Organizing cricket. I never saw him playing. I don't know. Somehow I missed that part of his life. Praimp Persaud, president of BEDCL. Very proud fan of West Indies team. Praimp, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Farrukh. Thank you for doing this. I know it's a last minute notification. Like I tell you, I was celebrating and doing my usual Sunday stuff. So Ingle, Tony, you boys have to answer all his questions. I'm just a happy West Indian fan that, as Ingle reminded me, I said good. Ingle said no. We beat them last year. So I said to Ingle, it's consistency that is always our West Indian problem. And beating England last year and taking the first test, that's consistency. That's good.
Right. Thanks. And when I called, Praimp, and he already started the celebration in the West Indies way. So I told him to hold off the celebration till 8 o'clock. He said, already started. So that's good. And with that, we have Arham with us all the way from Ottawa. We have Nasar, who's enjoying his extended vacation from college these days. And we have Kirmani, that has playing cricket for a long time and is very good analysis. So, guys, what do you guys say about the West Indies win? We talked about it day before yesterday, right?
Yeah. I think starting off just the way West Indies played the first session, you could say, they won majority of the session. They were playing better than England throughout. It's not about if England was playing bad. West Indies was bowling better, batting better, fielding better. Especially on the last day, we saw England's fielding, how they let themselves down. The West Indies, they were not missing anything. They were taking their chances. And everyone, if you look throughout in the first innings at least, everyone played a solid 50-60, helped out with 20-30s. And the second innings, I think Jermaine Blackwood on the last day was phenomenal. It was outstanding at 95. After the position they were in, it was amazing. It was a brilliant knock.
Great. So let me give our guests a chance and let them show their emotions. So Ingleton, how do you feel as a West Indies cricket fan right now?
To be honest with you, I think it's so great for West Indian people. We've been going through COVID, everybody's in lockdown. Talked to some of my friends in the Caribbean today, and they're so happy. I mean, cricket is the only thing that we have that unites the Caribbean. Every other sport we play as a different individual island, but cricket we play as the West Indies. So everyone is really quite happy. It's like to give you a chance to forget, as Praimp said, he's celebrating, gives us a chance of not even think about COVID today and just celebrate this win. But you can't celebrate too much because it's short-lived, because the next test match starts on Thursday. And it's not just about winning this game, you got to win the series. And I agree with what Nasar said earlier, is that West Indies won most of the game, everything as the sessions. I think England probably won 2 sessions in the whole match, and I'll give them probably the session today when they got the first 3 wickets in the morning, and the last session yesterday. Not yesterday, between lunch and tea yesterday when they had a good session. I think that was about it for England.
And I think, as our captain said, day 4 set up this match, right?
Yeah.
The performance they had on day 4, West Indies went into this with everybody complaining about the selections, as always, that there were no recognized spinner on the side. Even I was kind of surprised that we were not going with our recognized spinners. But you got to leave it some time to the pundits and the coaches and the experienced guys that are looking at it. They said they knew the English conditions and they think they have the seamers to do the job. This test match has proven them to be correct, with Gabriel taking 9 wickets in the whole game, and Holder taking 6 wickets on Thursday, with Gabriel in his 4, and then Gabriel come back with 5, with Azira doing the job, and all of these guys, and Chase doing the spin and putting in his performance, and with an all-round performance from the batting side, both first and second innings. This is where we saw West Indians playing with pride. I think these boys have now finally understood that it's time to be accountable for the fact that they're getting the opportunity to represent West Indies, and not to just win 1 game and lose 5 and play it in this Calypso style. But this is a test match, and they stood up and they played test match cricket, and the result is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I can add to what Prem just said, I think the COVID also helped, because the team had to go there early. So it's the first time in a long time you have a West Indies tour where you have a lot of preparation, because normally you get there maybe 5 days, 10 days before, but the team was able to be assembled for almost a month for preparation and be like a family, because they can't go anywhere, right, outside of the bubble. So I think all that helped the West Indies in the team building, etc.
All right. So Haris, you are very the close watcher of the game. What do you say about this win?
Yeah, I mean, I think Ingleton's really got it where they really took the time to come together and gelled in a way that you didn't see. I mean, usually you'll find England has been the settled side, the one that's been around for so long. But now, I mean, they're the ones with the questions. Is Joss Butler deserving of a test spot? Who's their first keeper? Where does Joe Root come in? Where's Joe Denley going? Like, they have all these question marks in their lineup, while you have this West Indies team that's had about 3 to 4 years as being the core together. And really, you're starting to see that under Jason Holder and his, calm, his consistent control over his team and having a plan all the way through. It's just really coming there, and people are putting value on their wicket. I think one name as far as batting that needs to really be recognized in this is Roston Chase. In both innings, he faced off over 100 deliveries, was coming up against the new ball the first time around, the second one, and really made sure that each partnership was there and really put a value on his wicket when a number of times it got a little bit rough getting close there. But those middle partnerships, especially with him, with Dowridge putting his nightmare tour of England behind him, like, I think these are great signs for West Indies, and they should really be looking confident for the rest of this tour.
All right. Arham, any thoughts?
I think the bowling really set them up. Kemar Roach really bowled well. He showed his experience. He held one end, and then in the first innings, Holder took wickets. In the second, and Gabriel was shining in both innings. And in this innings, I really give credit to Roston Chase. Like Harris said, I think he really, after Archer took those early wickets, he really hung in there and kept everything in check. And then in the end, you had Blackwood playing a good inning. So I think it was an all-round performance, and I hope they can carry it in the next game.
Yeah, so my question will be for Praimp and Ingleton. You guys are West Indies missing big names from the team. Some didn't get selected, some didn't choose, they choose not to come. Does it make any impact, or is it?
Well, you have guys like Bravo and Hetmeyer and Kimo Paul, who didn't come to the tour because of the COVID. But I think out of those 3 guys, the only person that I think we have started would have been Bravo, and it probably would have meant that Blackwood would not have gotten his chance to shine. And so this gave Blackwood a chance to do something. And I saw Blackwood this season, and he looked very good. He was the highest run scorer in the regional tournament. He looked very good. When he got out in the first inning, I was very disappointed, but I was happy the way he batted the second time around. So I think the names that are missing, they're big names, but I don't think they're show picks when it comes to West Indies setup. And another person that's needs to do something and make some runs to me is Shehu. He has the potential, but since his century in England the last 3 years ago, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, he hasn't really performed. So I think he has to come to the party. He has to do something to keep his spot at number 3. Starting to remind me of Darren Ganga. He looked very good, but not producing the runs.
Right. So now we are joined by another very jubilant West Indies fan, Mr. Tony McWatt. Tony is known for the cricketing circuit in Canada, and also he does a very good job of publishing Wicket magazine for Cricket Canada. So Tony, welcome to the program. Can you hear us?
Yes, Farrukh, I'm hearing you clearly.
All right, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Yeah, Tony, you have your West Indian shirt on. I put the cap on the shirt. England, where's your stuff? Huh?
This is the colors. I have the colors.
Prem, this is actually the only West Indies shirt I have. It was actually given to me by Brian Lara. It has Brian Lara's name on the back. So it's a very, prized possession. I only wear it on special occasions, such as today.
Well, me, I wear white. I wear ours even when we lose. But I think today it was worth it to wear both the cap and the shirt coming onto this program, because today I think all West Indians, no matter what country they're from, are rejoicing.
No, it's amazing time. So Tony, what's your what time you exactly start celebrating the win?
Well, actually, from the time we actually crossed the line, because to be honest with you, having followed West Indies cricket for as long as I have and seen what has happened far too often in recent times, I wasn't going to celebrate until we'd actually scored the winning runs. So that's when I really allowed myself to say, yeah, one for the bag. And I think importantly, this test win, I think the fellas would have dedicated it to Sir Everton, who, as you all know, passed on July 1st, and he is considered to be one of the founding fathers of West Indies cricket excellence. Very close friend of my own father, and so I felt that loss. So having this victory come today, so soon after that was even more meaningful.
Right. So my panel, Arham, Nasar, please feel free to ask these guys their question, because they will be the best people right now to give you the answers about the side.
I think Tony said something really succinct. As West Indian fans, we always see our guys go out there and destroy its side, maybe first innings, and then come back and fail the second inning. As people said, was disappointed with Blackwood, the way he came in and didn't settle down and drove the ball straight into the covers. But then he came back second innings and decided that he has to apply himself and he has to play an innings and he has to bring this home. And he did. Unfortunately, he did about the same when he got caught in the second innings. He should have made that 100 and he should have stayed there and come not out. So these are the type of difficulties that we struggle with, our boys. Consistency, seeing the game all the way through. Like the Canada ball used to stay there and just stick it out and make certain that we come home. But this is a very, very good win for West Indies. Without the 3 stars, like you said, like we're talking about each of them, give these guys an opportunity to come out and represent West Indies and to be proud of wearing the colors. And I think they did that. And you could see the maturity now with Jason Holder, taking a kid and slapping him into captaincy way back, and everybody criticizing and looking what's going on. But I think he is matured. He's matured. He knows what to do, when to do it, when to call the shots. And as he said, on the 4th day and throughout the test, every time he called on his players, no man said I was tired. They all came up, they all bowled their heart out. Roach didn't get wickets, but check his stats. He bowled extremely well. And with one guy pinning it down, usually the other bowlers get the wicket, but they all bowl extremely well. What was disappointing is to look at the umpiring. Unfortunately, three decisions were given to us without hesitation. They were all on review for now. And then on the other side, 3 out for you, and then they were turned down. That's bad on
Praimp was actually 5, not 3.
I'm,
It was
I'm,
five on the first day.
I'm being
Five on the
nice to
second day.
Tony. I'm
game-
being diplomatic.
In the
Yeah.
game, there was a total of 9 decisions that was overturned.
At this level of cricket, that is,
Yeah.
you know what? As West Indians, we always say, the ball touched Brian Lara or Shivnarayan Chandrapal or a couple of us, we're always walking, depending who the opposition we're playing.
Well, they're rusty too, right? So remember they were
Yeah,
up.
I would put it down to that, Rusty. But Prem, I don't want to throw a wet blanket, but I have to remind everyone. I mean, I applaud Blackwood for his efforts, but
Yes.
he had 4 chances in this innings. He was dropped on 5. You know, he had another chance. He's 20. So had England taken their chances, it could have been a totally different story. So, you know, while we are applauding ourselves, we gotta, you know, take that into consideration.
But,
We also
but
have to take into consideration that England was playing without their captain, Joe Root. So, you know, I totally agree with what Ingles said. Yeah, celebrate now, but in another couple of days, it'll be back to the, you know, the grindstone, and it's going to be even more harder the second time around.
But you know,
get
Tony,
victory.
drop catches are all in the game. We drop our positions and they come back and they make runs. It's all in the game. So whether
Yeah,
they
that's true.
2 or 3
Stokes
chances,
catch up. Stokes catch up. Right?
exactly, that's all part of the game. And them playing it out there, Captain, we played without our 3 top players who were selected on the given day, on this test match, over 5 days. Both sides had their strengths, and I think West Indies, as you guys said, session by session, we played with commitment, and I think that's the result, right?
Yeah, I think they definitely outplayed England for the majority of the test match. I think England erred, and I mean, like, I am with Mikey Holden. I cannot comprehend how you could go into a test match in England and leave out Stuart Broad. I mean, that to me is I don't care who is bowling at 100 miles an hour. Stuart Broad would always be in my first 11 in any test match played in England. And I think that was a huge mistake that England made, which worked in our favor. The same way it worked in our favor last year in Barbados. They made the same stupid mistake in the first test, and it came back to bite them. So, you know, so good for them.
Well, let's hope we come back. We take care of him the same way we took care of the other speedsters that they have.
I think the wickets look a bit flat to him because I don't know, Harris looked like you're going to say something, but yeah, I think the wickets look a little flat because a lot of cricket haven't been played yet in England. So I think even with Stuart Broad coming, he might have been better because he swings the ball more than pace. So playing Wood and Archer looked good in the second innings, and if that's the sign of what's to come, he's going to be very sharp and he's going to be tough to face in the next couple of matches.
Actually looked like he was going to take us down. I was, you know, after 4 wickets at the score that we were, and the way he was bowling, he's a pretty good bowler. He's a very good cricketer.
So I think also the fact in England is it's not, you don't have to have a bowler bowling 90 miles an hour. We saw Jason Holden in the first inning. He was bowling around 80 miles an hour. It's in England, you have to bowl, you have to pitch it up. You have to let the ball do the talking. You're not playing in the subconscious somewhere. You need a quick bowler who just comes in and route the thumbs up. No, in England, you need to have that control in your line and length. I think Stuart Broad would have been a better choice over Wood or someone because Archer did struggle. Obviously, Stuart Broad in England, we saw last summer how great he was, and even I think he would have been a much better option, especially in this. Like, if you saw the West Indies bowling attack, it was well rounded. You had Jason Holder, who was hitting the length. You had Kumar Roach hitting the length. Then you had Shannon Gabriel, who's coming in bowling quick, what he's supposed to do. England didn't have that balance, just in this sense, at the very least.
And if you have Archer already, then you don't really need another bowler that's bowling 150 plus. That's why Broad is so good in England because he's hitting it at one spot, and that's what troubles the batsman. So I think that's 2 decisions. I think they're gonna have to put Broad in the next game and fit Root in. I think they'll have to drop. I think they should drop Butler in the next test.
What are your thoughts on them batting first after winning the toss?
Who are you asking, Ingle?
I was asking, what's his name? Arham, is it? Who's just speaking?
Yeah, I think
Yeah, what-
that's another blunder they did. Looking at the conditions, maybe it would have been better if they actually bowled first. But I think it was in the favor of the West Indies. You can't just give credit to the West Indies for winning over a toss because from the first ball, they dominated the whole Test match, except for a few sessions. And
Yeah, Ingle.
I hope they do that in the next few games too.
I would agree with that assessment. I mean, to me, you always play to your strengths and the opposition's weakness. And everybody said going into the series that the West Indies' strength was their bowling and their weakness
Right.
was their batting. So why would you start a test series playing to the opposition's strengths, giving their bowlers the chance to get first crack at you? I mean, they should have let Archer and Anderson and have first crack at the West Indies. So I think that was a mistake on their part.
To go on to
Unless-
Tony.
My
Yeah, go
question,
on.
my question
I
for
think-
all my three guests is, tell us like very honestly, like when the test started, what was your feeling, or how much percent you were sure that West Indies will win this match?
Well, Farrukh, let me start with answering that. Last year in Barbados, I made it a point to go down to Barbados. This is before because I had a feeling. I had a feeling that if we played the right team, that we could surprise England in Barbados. So I had that confidence, and I went down, saw the whole test match, so said, so done. Same thing here. I had a feeling that if we did the things consistently. The problem with West Indies cricket in the last few years has been that we have played good cricket at times during test matches, but we have not played good cricket consistently from day one to day five. And you know, Holder said that, all the commentators said that what has been lacking has been consistency. What this West Indies team delivered in this test match was far more consistent than they have displayed, in recent times, other than winning at home last year. So I was 60-70% confident. I was wary of England at home and being strong at home. But again, the absence of Joe Root gave me that much more confidence also. So I would say my confidence level at the start of the test match would have been about 75-80%.
Considering like the next two games they're gonna be played in Manchester, do you guys think that they're gonna have to play Cornwall for a seamer because you need a spin option in Manchester?
Well, West Indies don't tends not to change a winning team. That has been their selectorial policy.
True.
Philosophy.
So it's
Their philosophy.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I
Philosophy.
think Chase will do the spin, and Chase will probably be the person to do the spin bowling. And yeah, to the question that you asked, I can show you a text exchange with a friend of mine on the test match. And then he actually texted me after the game and he said, "You won." Because I told him that West Indies was going to win. And my reasoning for that was I followed both teams' warm-up matches and the scores and stuff. And I thought that with Joe Root not being in the team, that the batting and strength on both teams wasn't that great. And I figured at the point that West Indies had the edge in the bowling attack at that time. Because I think Roach and Gabriel has really matured now, holding the number one all-rounder. And Alazari Joseph, although he is a bit raw, he started to come into his own in the second innings. So I figured that West Indies had that edge. And I said to him, both teams haven't played cricket for a long time. And then when England won the toss and batted, I texted him back and said, England made the biggest mistake, they lost for sure.
Ingle, I have a question for you. Yesterday morning, which would have been day 4, the session before lunch, Holder the News Joseph et al. And
Right.
at the end of that session, I was questioning his lack of use of Joseph. And Joseph was the one who came back later in the day with Gabriel that got those wickets that really put, the West Indies in the position to win. So I couldn't understand, why he wasn't using Joseph in that entire pre-lunch session on the fourth morning.
I was looking at the game closely too, and
Listen,
go ahead.
before we go
Mhm.
for your answer, just hold on. I'm just gonna go through this very quickly. The comments we get, so we'll all over. Said Aamir says, "Islam guys, great win by West Indies." Yes, thank you. Female cricketers Canada. They say, "Oh, just people I want to see." Well,
Chantal, isn't she going to be on?
Chantal, and then she says, "Hello all." And then the people always criticize, but give them the chance, and they won't be able to do the job. And Chantal, and then say like, speak on it. So yes, Chantal, we're gonna speak about it. And speak of Chantal, and Chantal is here.
Okay.
So, oops,
Hi, y'all.
yay!
Hi.
Chantal, how?
I finally made it.
Yes. Yeah, so this is my perfect lineup. All Pakistani guys on the top, all the West Indies guys on the bottom. So, and I'm glad to see Chantal. She's very active. She's a very energetic cricketer, female cricketer in Canada, and she's very active on promoting cricket all over the place. And she claims that she is the fastest female bowler, if not in Canada, in GTA. So, this is what we are. So, Chantal, welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you.
And let's go back to Ingle, your answer.
Yeah, I was looking at that too, Tony. I was looking closely at the body language of Joseph. He didn't seem to be too happy at all. And I quickly looked at the scorecard and realized when the other guys had 12 overs and 14 overs, he only had 5. And I was wondering what was Holder's reasoning not to use them. Was he worried because of the first innings he didn't bowl that well? But as you said, he came into his own in the second innings, and he was the one. Actually, if you recall, there was a catch that should have been taken that Blackwood didn't make that effort down at fine leg when they set up with a hook shot. I don't know if you remember. The same thing in the first innings. He was the one that almost got stoked when he was dropped. So I think Joseph somehow just didn't seem like he was happy about something, and I don't know the reason for Holder not bowling him, but I was actually questioning that myself because I thought Alazari Joseph was the guy. He was the fourth bowler that you needed to keep pressure on England.
And he is the one who bowls consistently the quickest. Gabriel may be the quickest of the 4, but Gabriel bowls his effort ball. You'll get like 2 or 3 effort balls, and he'll average between 85 and 90. Joseph from ball 1 is high 80s, and he doesn't, unless he's trying a slower ball, he doesn't slack off. So I have a lot of time for Alzari Joseph, and I think I'm hoping that this will be his breakthrough series.
Well, guys, I know you guys are much more qualified than I am. But, we can always second guess the captain as to why he did what he did, but in the end, you have to give him credit that when he did bring Joseph, he did what he wanted him to do, and in the second innings, he used him and he got the wickets. So I think the man has his plan as to how he'll use his pacers. He used them, and we got the result.
The point in Ingle and I are making is that perhaps if he'd used Joseph earlier, we would have been having this conversation last night and not tonight.
But not necessarily. Not necessarily. You don't know. That's not 100% guaranteed. Joseph could have come on, as Arham said. It's not all pace that was working. It's the guys moving the ball, and as you saw, Gabriel may beat 3 or 4 effort balls, and those effort balls get wickets. 4 wickets in the first innings and 5 in the second innings, 9 wickets in the match. Speaks volume to the guy coming back healthy. He was injured, coming back healthy and performing. Ingle, what do you guys say?
Well, just 1 second. Let say something. And so, what's your feeling? You're a proud West Indian right now, and you're a fast bowler. How do you like the performances of fast bowler, and how are you going to celebrate this first Test win?
I'm gonna go outside and scream, "Yay, go West Indies!" But as I said, I didn't have the chance to watch the entire game, so I really can't speak too much on it. But I'm listening. I'll pick up as I go along.
Okay, great, great.
Yeah, and I thought it was actually the small moments, as you say, that causes the difference. So when Alzari Joseph did come in that over where he got Zach Crawley, it was very much the same ball that he got twice, but it was about an inch fuller the second time to get, because he pulled it away really nicely on the ball before, but it's just that inch fuller to get the top of the bat to get that cotton bowl chance on it, which just hurried him up a little bit faster. So I think it was one of those where, look, Shannon Gabriel, he's used in short bursts of spells to try to get that aggression into it. But I thought he was finding more rhythm in the second inning, so they were getting him into slightly longer spells and trying to get him kind of going from that perspective, and it was working. But it's just that, hey, once that starts to cool down, then you get Alzari Joseph in, who isn't going to be bowling as many overs in front of Shannon Gabriel at that point. But when he came in, he was able to get that steepling bounce from a length that others weren't getting, and that's really what put Zach Crawley on the back foot, and that's where the game really changed for the West Indies.
I think to go off that hard, the fact that when you're playing 4 pacers, obviously, one pacer will not all pacers will get a good amount, the same amount of overs. And especially on day 4 when the pitch started to turn, I think obviously they started the day with Kemar Roach and Shannon Gabriel. But after that, Holder, and he wanted to bring on Chase. Because there was a slight turn at the moment. So at that point, Alzari Joseph became his 5th option as a bowler. Due to the wicket and the nature of the wicket and how the game was changing in a way, that he wanted Broughton Chase to come on, maybe see some turn, because there was something you could see during the 4th day, that there was some turn coming. But credit to Alzari Joseph, as we said, when Holder asked for his team, when he went up to his bowlers and asked for them, they did the job. Alzari Joseph, at the end of the day, he did the job, and he got that breakthrough that England needed.
The other thing you got to credit the captain to, I think, about is that it's 3 test matches back to back, right? And you have to have manage your fast bowlers quite well, because I don't think West Indies is not the type of team, as you said, Tony. They're not going to rotate their fast bowlers. They're going to play a winning team. If they win this team, they're going to stick with it right throughout. The only person that is in question, I think, is for the next test match is Campbell, whether or not his toe is okay. But other than that, I'm sure that you're going to see the same team.
Yeah. So
and I mean, Ingle, one of the
one
of the hallmarks of Clive Lloyd's captaincy, and that is, of course, who all West Indian captains are now compared to, was his rotation of his fast bowlers. I mean, you look in any test match and you'd see Holden, Garner, Roberts, Croft all bowling, more or less the same number of overs. So, it's going to be interesting that now that he has this his own version of the 4-prong, how Jason Holder uses his boulders, for the rest of the series. The other point that I want to make too about Holder's captaincy, he's come a long way. I was not one of the biggest fans of the decision to appoint him when he was appointed. I thought he was way too young. But today, I'll be the first person to stick up my hand and say, yeah, Jason Holder is the right person to be captain in West Indies cricket. But having said that, one of the growth areas for him is that he has to have the confidence. There's certain points where you can seize a moment in Test cricket and change, the nature of a game. If you look at the successful and the dynamic captains, they have that sense as to when to do something differently. Going back to Clive Lloyd, I remember a test match where Lloydie gave Daniel, in 1976 in England, gave Daniel the new ball instead of Holder and Robertson holding. And Danny got the breakthrough that led to the West Indies eventually winning the test. So it's little things like that. You have to know when to, not stick to the script and say, okay, this is the plan. This is the plan that we're sticking with. You gotta have the confidence to say we're gonna tweak this plan and we're gonna do something differently, and that something might actually, allow you to win the test match even easier than you actually did.
So, Mike, I have a question. So West Indies team, right now it looks like it's very underrated. Like, they're very calm, and people rate them really low. So either test team is better or the one-day or T20 team is better. What do you guys think?
I think it's tough to say, but something about West Indies playing against England brings out the question now. Because if you look at the test record for West Indies, out of the last 9 test matches they played against England, they won 5. And they played 30 holders, won 6 test matches, 4 of them are against England.
Wow.
And I think they've lost like 30 something matches. So it's like a 50% win ratio against England, whereas a 20 something % win ratio against other teams.
Yeah,
Something
that-
like England bring out the best. So I can't really say that they're better at one day or 50 or test cricket, but something when playing against England, the best of West Indies come.
Put it this way, for West Indies, you can count which is the best team on the day that the players turn up to actually play cricket. And on any given day, whether it's the T20 or the ODI or the Test match, if our boys put our mind to it and play like they did in this match, they're invincible. I think.
But do you guys think it's the change of the team, or it's just the Test match or the one day?
Well, one of the things that about the improvement in West Indies Test cricket is that we have been, for the last year or two, we've been playing with a settled team. Before there was a lot of politics and a lot of chopping and changing, and you couldn't always say with confidence that the 11 that was going onto the field to represent the West Indies was the best 11. Today, you could say that it's the best available 11. Had Hatmayer and Bravo been, on this tour, the composition might have been different. So I think that's one of the things that when you play a consistent team and you consistently play your best players, then your chances of being successful increase that much more. So that's what's happening with Test cricket. I would say on paper we have the strongest T20 cricket team in the world if we play the best players. One day cricket, I think we're still finding our way there. So the way I would rank it right now would be T20 is the strongest in the world on paper, Test cricket, and then one day with a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
So I think our players, when they're playing T20, need to think they're playing in IPL, because that's where they go and destroy everybody else. And when they're playing for themselves, they don't stand up. So that's what I mean about consistency. Our boys will go and represent in the IPL, which is for a big example. Last IPL, all the top players were basically West Indian players, right? Not every single position, but we stood up and represented our heritage. But when they play for the West Indies, they don't do that consistently. They do it on occasion, right? And I agree with Tony that you could say that the T20 team, if we put the best available 11, we have the best T20 team in the world. I don't know what Ingle would, but I think that's true.
There's a question, Aamir Raza saying, did you feel like the ICC COVID safe play guidelines are more relaxed than we are following here in Canada?
Because
Yes.
I've seen
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Farrukh, go ahead.
But I saw the game, and then I see a lot of high fives and very close contacts, both in the ground and outside the ground. So I was like, okay, man.
And there's a picture with Anderson. I think he was using a saliva on the ball. I saw it.
Yes, I saw that too.
Yeah.
Was there any penalty or anything like that?
It's just happened at this point.
The only attribute I can think of why the guidelines is not as strict as us with the local cricket and where we are in Canada, etc. All of these players, before playing the Test match, had been tested, vetted, and approved to be COVID-free. So without anyone in the stands, I think some of the guidelines were not as strict as we have to follow over here. Because in our games, we have no way of testing every single player for every single game to make certain that they're COVID-free. But at an international level like this, most players had to have been vetted.
But if you look at that way,
and everyone's isolated in their hotels. So.
The players are isolated, but they're ground men. The people are bringing water and the food and camera stuff and media.
The camera's on the buggy, that little buggy that comes onto the thing to run around, right? That entire little
everyone's tested before they enter the ground.
I think so.
Yeah. I do have a question for you guys, though. This is separate. And I think it's about Shea Hope, because to me, he's the best West Indies batsman. And the fact that he hasn't gotten to that level yet on the test side yet, which is really kind of disappointing to me. Because to me, the comparison between him is to Babar Azam, very similar on the ODI level there. And now you're seeing Babar Azam kind of make that change or turn the corner at the test level there. Where I found it interesting is Shai Hope has pretty much batted his entire career at number 3, number 4 at the test level, where frankly he's averaged like 23, 24 with the bat. So, I mean, to me, speaking to what Tony was saying about, slight tweaks that West Indies cricket could be looking to make, have they thought about similar to what Babar Azam could do, where they went and had him bat at number 6 for a little while to kind of get his confidence up at the test level, to get it where he's facing the slightly older ball and then kind of getting his feet wet there so that he can finally go back and be that top anchor batsman for West Indies, because he really hasn't since his double under, the 200s that he had.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because I was looking at it today. I was just looking at it today, and in regional cricket, Shai Hope plays for Barbados, and when he plays for Barbados, he bats lower down because Shamar Brooks actually bats number 3 for Barbados. And then Blackwood bats 3 for Jamaica. So I was thinking the same thing, and if you look at his technique too, I don't know if I look closely at those things when I'm watching the game. And to me, and I think what the commentators pointed it out, Blackwood is playing the ball under his eyes, whereas these guys are pushing out quite a bit. And Blackwood said he spoke to Desmond Haynes for some insight on what he needs to do. Maybe some of these other players need to do that, because I think Shai Hope has a lot of promise, but I don't think he's the number 3 batsman for Test cricket.
Ingle, and to that point, I don't think that the current West Indies team is, you mentioned Braffett, speaking to Desmond Haynes, I don't think that the current West Indies team is using the availability of the legends and the players that we have still around. I mean, I remember as great a batsman as he was, Brian Lara, anytime he had any technical issues, the first person he used to pick up the phone and call is Gary Sobers. He would call Sir Gary, he'd talk to Sir Gary, he'd say, what the problem is. He would go back and he'd look at his better innings, he'd look at his foot movements and stuff. So he was constantly working on his game. I mean, Shai Hope scored these 200s in Headingley 2 years ago, or however long ago, and he hasn't done the same thing at test level, which means that he is being consistently worked out by opposing bowlers. So he obviously needs to go back to the drawing card and address his technical issues. Yeah, and I agree. Set him down the order. Give him that breathing space. He actually started his career as an opener. I think the first couple of test matches he played was as the opening position, and he failed. He failed at that level. If you look at his stats as an opener is even worse than his stats at number 3.
My question to Chuntell, who is your favorite player in current West Indies team and or previous West Indies team?
That's for me?
Yep.
Oh. As well, Brian Lara. I have a couple. Brian Lara, Shanta Pearl, Sawan, and Chris Gayle.
Chris Gayle. Okay, great. On Chris Gayle, I have a question, man. I have a lot of people. I love Chris Gayle, but very honestly, you guys tell me, because you have so much experience and you are from West Indies, that what do you think, how much time Chris Gayle have left, or how much cricket, or how long are we going to see him in the field?
Well,
can I answer that?
Yeah, go ahead.
As long as as long as Chris Gayle is fit, he will always play. That is my assessment. I think Chris Gayle, 20 cricket brings to the crease, not as much as before, but he brings that intimidation factor to the crease, the X factor. Anytime he gets going, he will destroy any bowling attack in the world. So to me, he is always going to be in my first 11, as long as he is fit and ready to play and feel at first slip.
Yeah,
because that's the only position in the field that we can hide.
I disagree, Tony, on that one. He can keep playing CPL, IPL, but not for West Indies.
I think I have to agree with.
Yeah, he's been pretty bad for a period of time now.
Ingle, I was just I respect Tony, and I think that is a good analysis. But I kind of agree with you. As long as he's playing IPL and the other places, Chris will stand up and he will deliver those exceptional knocks, right? There's nothing to lose. He's got nothing on the line, not playing for West Indies. And if he goes and he fails 4 times and you put 1 knock in. But on IPL, like I said, all of our West Indian boys, it's like IPL is an injection of adrenaline into them that they go and they shine. But Tony, I think we got to make way
Yeah,
for
but
the.
Prem, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that if Chris Gayle plays, in a couple of matches and fails, that he should continuously play. I mean, I'm basing it. I say he will always be my first pick in my first 11. But then again, I expect him to, within couple matches, perform. And if he doesn't perform, give somebody else a chance. I'm not saying he has a right to that position till Thy Kingdom come, but I would, if I'm starting a T20 series and Chris Gayle is in the squad and fit, he is going to be my number 1 choice. And then he has to fail in order for somebody to take that position from him.
But seems like he very soon we're going to start calling him Boom Boom Gale, because he's going to be he's going to the same path as Shahid Afridi. Right? So
we're not agreeing with you on that one, not at all.
There's hope because there's a guy, I can't remember the player's name, but Trinidad and Tobago, they just drafted a 48-year-old spinner from India into the CPL team.
Oh yeah, what's his name? Tambe, I think Praveen Tambe, something like that.
Yes. I was actually shocked to see that pick.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking.
Like, Arham, you boys are really following this, right?
My only thing on the Chris Gayle thing.
He's actually the first Indian player to play in the CPL.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but I don't think he's ever played for India, has he?
No, he played
IPL.
Played
IPL for a while.
He's like a leg spinner or something like that, right?
Yeah, but he's like 48, 49. I don't think.
Tony, my only thing about Chris
Gayle, he was drafted as a spin coach.
No, he's playing.
Oh, the player. Yeah.
Mr. was saying something.
Yeah, and CPL is like, we want to again congratulate Saad bin Zafar, to be selected for CPL. He's the only player from Canada this year, unfortunately, to, hopefully when I think we have the potential, should be more player will be picked up. I think previously there have been like 3-4 players. So good luck to Saad, but we're looking for more players to join from Canada to the CPL player.
I think we all join in congratulating Saad bin Zafar.
Yeah, definitely. I think what happened in the last time was each of the 6 teams had to pick someone from either Canada or US. So we had more players, but now they're all development territory with developments from the commander. And so that is the new one.
I have a question for everyone here.
Yeah.
So we've all talked about West Indies, how great they've been. We also have to talk a bit about England, because there are 2 teams that at the end of the day play. And over the last 3 years, I feel like England, they've become a better white ball team. As a red ball team, at least in England, I feel like they have regrets. They've not been able to win series since 2018. They've only won 1 series, which is against India. They drew against Pakistan. They drew against the Ashes last year, at which one of the games heroically they ended up winning. This year they've started off with another loss. Do you guys think England are going through a transition phase at the moment, without obviously Alistair Cook and Joe Root not playing the last test as well? But do we see England maybe not as big of a force, or at least in England being as difficult as they used to be maybe 10 years ago or 5 years ago, you could say? Is it much better for overseas?
Well,
Go ahead, Tony.
Again,
to answer your question, you got to remember that England makes some decisions about their cricket and their emphasis. Yeah, go ahead.
Before we already on the 49th, actually 50th minute of our live transmission, and our schedule is 60 minutes. So we have 10 minutes to, wrap this thing up. So I'll say, give your answer and with your closing remarks. So we'll try to wrap up on the same time. We don't want to go on a very long transmission, but because we will be coming back for during the series. So Tony, please.
You will be coming back when West Indies wins the second test, for sure.
Win or draw or whatever, we always.
Yeah, so quickly, I mean, England's emphasis up until the World Cup, which they won, was on, improving their white ball cricket. Now that the World Cup is done, you'll see that the emphasis will shift back to red ball cricket. So they have a systematic approach as to how they plan and organize their cricket. So that would be the answer. I mean, and to wrap up, like everybody else, I'm overjoyed by this victory. I hope that the guys can continue to play as consistently as they did and with the commitment that they showed. And if they do, I have every right, belief that we can actually win the series and retain the Wisden Trophy, which would be the most wonderful thing to have happened in West Indies cricket for the longest while.
Great, thank you, Tony. Chuntell, what's your closing remarks for the program?
It's great to see everyone. Great topic, and hopefully I can get to do this soon with you guys.
All right.
When I watch the game, I did not have any time to watch the game, but hopefully I'll have some time to watch the second test.
Nope. Thank you very much for joining us, Praimp.
Like any West Indian fan, a victory is something that we all welcome, cherish. It's bring joy to all the West Indian countries. So kudos to the boys, and hopefully, as we have all been saying, West Indian cricket, we need consistency. We need the same type of performances, and I think this captain has matured to a point. And I think the selectors gambling with 4 pacers proved to be positive and a winning decision first test. Let's hope that happens in the second test, and let's hope that we can continue and eventually win the series.
All right, Ingleton, please.
Yeah, just like the other 2 guys and the other 3 West Indians, yeah, I mean, I'm quite happy and I'm overjoyed to see West Indies win, but I want to see consistency. I don't want to come see West Indies come Thursday and relax, so you need to come in with the same kind of venom that you had in the first test and win the second test. And to answer Nasar's question, I think England is going to go through quite a long period before they get back to being a great test team. You look at I don't even think they're settled in the wicketkeeper position. That's something that they need to do. Denley or Quali was probably one day, and one of them would be dropped for Joe Root. Crawley made some runs, so Denley's probably not thinking he's going to be up. So I don't think they're a settled team. And even when they start to play test matches for a while, I do not believe they're going to be such a powerhouse for a long time.
Right. Arham?
I think this is a really good opportunity for the West Indies to win a series. Like Ingle said, they don't have a very settled lineup. When they have with the bowling options, they have good options. Like Wokes is on the bench, Broad isn't playing, but when it comes to their batting, they're really struggling in a lot of departments. And the West Indies bowling attack is coming with all guns blazing. I hope the West Indies wins this test match, but obviously the venue is going to change, and Old Trafford could spin and things like that. And Dom Best, I think in the first innings, he wasn't that bad. He showed that he could really control one end. So he might be a threat in the next game, but I hope the West Indies would win this test match, win the series.
Good job. Nasar?
Yeah, I think it was a great first game. As great as West Indies finished, I think the next game will be a lot more fun to watch because they'll come with everything they've got. Obviously, Joe Root playing, their natural captain. There'll be more fluency in the game for England. I think it'll become just tougher for West Indies to win. Hopefully, they do end up winning the series. But I think the next game will be really interesting and really fun to watch.
Great, thanks. Haris?
Yeah, I mean, just as everyone said, congratulations to West Indies. Thoroughly professional performance all the way through. As Ingleton said, I mean, England's being caught in a bit of a transitional phase right now. And more so than that, players that they hoped would take the next step for them have either kind of just phased out, being like Johnny Bairstow or those guys who can't even make the test team anymore, or being like Joss Butler, who just aren't hitting the level that they need. So they're really struggling in the batting department, depend really heavily on Joe Root, who's going to be back next game. So, I mean, it's the perfect opportunity for a team like West Indies or even Pakistan in their next series, all of them to really be able to put the sword to England, who are currently really just trying to get themselves back up and running and be really a professional batting lineup from top to bottom. Because if you look back in the past, their tail has been strong between Graham Swan, even an older Stuart Broad, all these guys who could hold their bat down low. Now you're seeing their batting lineup end at like 5. So it's really something for England to really think about. They need to get their focus back on Test cricket, and it's great on West Indies to take advantage of that. They should.
Yep, thank you.
I hope England loses both series.
Good one.
No,
Good one.
my point is, like, whatever happened is done and dusted, and we are looking for the next one, and England is going to come back as a wounded loin. And like, even if West Indies might, I hope they win second one and third one, but that's going to put Pakistan in a very bad position, because Pakistan is going to come back with all their resources and missiles and everything. But, we will find out. Thank you very much, Chuntell, Tony, Praimp, Ingleton. Thank you very much to join us on a very short notice, but I know it's a celebration time. Praimp, you can go back to your celebration after this program. But you know what? This is not the first program. We and the last program we'll be doing more programs, and I would love to have you guys back during the West Indies series or any a different series. So everyone, thank you very much. All of my panels, thank you very much, and we will be back soon in a day or two with the next coverage. With that, thank you very much, and have a great day, a great night, you guys. Thank you very much. Take care.
Take care. Tony.
Thanks for having me.
England, Tony, mine is empty, so we'll fill it up later.
I don't have any extra.
Later.
Thank you for having me. Take care, guys.